My name is Chantal Pierrat. I'm the founder of Emerging Women and Emerging Women Live. Thank you. Thank you. So many of you are here because you've, maybe gone to the website, or maybe you were attracted to something called a power party. And maybe some people were attracted to Emerging Women and they saw the power party and they're like, what the hell is that about? I don't, but so there's a lot going on here when we're talking about Emerging Women and we're talking about a power party. And I want to just take it back before men and women, and I want to talk about the masculine and the feminine. Because that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about Emerging Women and what we're talking about when we're talking about the power party, okay? So what's happening right now, and you may be feeling it, is that, and I hope I'm not overstating this, but I feel that there is a cosmic rising of feminine energy throughout the world. I didn't think I was overstating that. Now, I want to honor the dudes that are here tonight who are here supporting the rise of that feminine energy. Okay? Yeah. So, if you're like me and you've been feeling the cosmic rise, you may be starting to feel like, you know what, I don't feel like compromising anymore. What's happening? Or you might be feeling like, I have the courage finally to make those decisions that are in alignment with the truth of who I am. Or maybe you're feeling like, oh my God, I discovered the truth of who I am. Okay, these things are all happening because there's a greater movement beyond our own self that is supporting this on a mass global scale. And why is that happening? Now, the thing I love about capitalism, there's things that I don't love, but the thing that I love about it is that it follows the natural sort of order of supply and demand. And right now, there is an actual demand in the world for more feminine energy and positions of leadership and positions of decision making. And this, people right here in this room, this is going to be the supply that will meet that demand. And there's also supply across the globe. There's supply in Kenya, there's supply in China, there's supply all over the place. We're all feeling this. But what does that mean? Does it just mean having women in positions of leadership? I think that helps, but I kind of feel like that's half the story. What's the consciousness that we're going to be bringing to this new, this new era where women are inheriting a lot more power? What is the level of consciousness? And that's what Emerging Women is about. It's about having a discussion where we're bringing the awareness of a more balanced approach where the feminine has equal energetic part at the table than the masculine. Now, what's happened here is the masculine, the analogy I use is it's almost like the masculine and feminine are kind of going on a car trip together. They get in the car, right? And if you're like me, I'm always like, babe, can you drive first? So get in, the masculine's driving, you want to take a little nap, feminine, maybe not fell totally asleep, but the masculine's driving. What are you going to do? Read a magazine? You're going to just kind of like feel that. And that power was needed, that masculine was needed to drive to build bridges, to build roads, to build infrastructure. We needed that for technology, okay? We needed it. And it has a certain laser focus and a certain linearity to it that is very, very helpful, okay? There we go. Come on, baby, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah. But that's necessary. But what's happened now is that the masculine is driving so long, it's like the feminine woke up and there's like bombs going off and the masculine has like bleary red eyes and is like hanging on by a thread and you're like, wow, wait, pull over. Pull over. I can drive for a little while. And this is not about hierarchy or, okay, now it's our turn to drive. We're going to do, it's actually, we need to actually take the wheel. It's happening. Okay, it's happening. Whether we like it or not, the supply and demand is pushing the feminine into this position. And it's our turn to take the wheel. So that's the opportunity. Now, there are certain qualities, we talked a little bit about the masculine, that the feminine bring to the table that are subtler And it's not so much about like building roads and building technology. Right now, you know, technology has this term for it. I loved hearing this. It's the age of connectivity. Isn't that awesome? I mean, hey, the feminine knows how to connect. Okay, we're connecting on such a deep level. We use our bodies. Okay, not that the mind is not where it's at. It's great. The mind is great for certain things. But now it's the age of the body. Okay, it's the age of things like energy and feeling and intuition. My husband, just like last month, I was asking him about like some kind of business partnership. And I'm like, what's your hit? What's your hit? And he's like, God, babe, every time you ask me that, I have so much anxiety. He's like, stop asking me. He's like, just tell me what the facts are. And I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, let's look at the facts. Right? You know, I mean, it's like for me, the hit is like the easiest thing, you know? Like the facts, I'm just like, oh. So it's just so interesting that we're bringing that to the table. The hit has a place at the table. Intuition, energy, receptivity. Okay, you can't really connect without being receptive. Feel. In the field of science, I was just doing an interview with Kelly McGonigal, who's one of our speakers at Emerging Women Live in October in Boulder, and I'll be talking to you about that event. But she was saying, in the field of science, curiosity has been wiped out. That people take the end result of what they're trying to achieve, and they take a linear focus, and if they don't prove out their thesis, then they just adjust the thesis. Like you can't actually publish a paper where you're going down the line on a thesis and then you discover something totally different. And it's wonderful, but that paper never gets published. And curiosity, what's needed for curiosity? Receptivity, wonder. Okay, these are things that the feminine can bring to the table in every line. I'm talking about science, finance, politics. Okay, another one is authenticity and vulnerability. Now, the feminine doesn't own authenticity, and one can argue the feminine doesn't own any of these. There's just more of a natural inclination towards some of these values, where now we have the opportunity to bring those forward in a very natural way and stop using the overlay of the masculine to feel successful. How many people here have worked like a man? Just curious. Okay. The guys don't count. But I have been a dude. And you have no idea. And I still have it in me. I'm still unlearning it. But it's strong. And God, doesn't that just like sap you of every ounce of juju that you have? Right? Now the guys are like, no, I feel great. Great! Of course they feel great. Right? It doesn't feel so great when you lead with feminine. Right? You want to lead with the hit. Why not? Okay? So that's it. Areas of science, politics, finance, all those areas are going to benefit from these things like receptivity, compassion. Okay, now when I was saying about authenticity, okay, that's sort of one that, God, if you're a human being, you want to be authentic. But what's required for authenticity is vulnerability. You can't be authentic without being vulnerable. It's actually impossible. And I think that as women become more, enter in these positions of leadership and show that it's okay to be vulnerable, men are going to feel okay to be vulnerable. And that's when things are really going to start shifting. When you feel okay to be vulnerable, everyone's just going to be themselves. Wouldn't that just be hot? We just sit around, we're just like ourselves. That would just be fabulous, right? So that's sort of step one. The tagline for Emerging Women is, live the truth of who you are. So first we figure that out. What is that truth? And then once you figure it out, it's the energy of emergence. It's like a fire under your ass like no other, okay? You're like, oh my God, that's my truth. And you are launching, you're emerging, you're on fire. You want that alignment, and anything outside of that alignment is not okay. That's the energy of emergence. So what's the next step? Okay, so we all like manifest ourselves and self-actualize ourselves and our egos. That's not the last step. Again, the whole purpose of the feminine and this connectivity is about creating this web among humanity and really kind of working together to make the world a better place. To have purpose to our self-actualization is really what we're talking about here. to have purpose for our businesses, for how we lead, for the how of what we do, to actually make others' lives better is really where we want to go with this. So it's living the truth of who you are, but it's also what's after that. It's also helping others to do that and helping others to manifest. It's a luxury to consider the truth of who you are. It's a luxury. Some people are just trying to put food on the table. They don't have the time, okay? So when we live the truth of who we are, we don't just do it for ourselves. We're doing it for everybody else that doesn't have that. And the more that we do this, both for men and women, the more that we're going to actually see real change in the world. I like to say there's two things that are actually going to create real change in the world. One is that women are going to stop compromising their femininity in order to feel successful. And the other is that men are going to stop compromising their femininity in order to feel successful. Yeah. Those are the two things. So that's really what Emerging Women is about. I want to say a few words about our main conference. This is in Boulder, Colorado, which I consider a nexus of conscious thinking and mindfulness, and business. It's just been named by Entrepreneur Magazine as the #1 place for startups in the country. Last year, CNN called it the #1 place for startups. But this isn't just about entrepreneurship. This is also about leadership. Okay, so we're having it in Boulder. And we have fabulous speakers. We have Brene Brown. She's going to be talking about vulnerability. We have Elizabeth Gilbert talking about the creative process. We have Eve Ensler talking about the body and how her whole story about how, okay, I'm going to try not to go off on this tangent. She's amazing. How she inhabited her body. She was not in her body, and that whole process is so powerful. Okay, a lot of us are not in our body. I haven't been in my body for years. I'm like here up, right? Now I'm like here down. Regina comes in, Mama Gina, and I'm like, Gina, you know? Like, feel it in my body now, you know? It's so liberating. We're going to be talking about the science of change in the brain with Kelly McGonigal, the practice of self-compassion with Kristen Neff, so powerful, whether you're a woman or a man. I mean, there's so much to that. We're also going to be talking about practical things like public speaking and stepping out as an entrepreneur and how to lead with authenticity. So this is a 4-day event. It happens over 4 days. It's in Boulder. And I would love for you to come. And the power parties, power lies in that alignment. Power lies in our ability to align our inner authenticity and our inner truth with the outer. That's true power. Okay, and that's what this is about. This is about saying yes to that tonight and hopefully every night after. So thank you for coming.